So let's talk about spending. You know why we buy things. We're going to pull back the curtain on all the hidden forces, the ones in the stores and the ones inside our own heads that convince us to buy stuff we don't always need. Let's just dive right in.
Oh, we've all been there, right? You just need to pop in for, I don't know, a gallon of milk. That's it. But somehow you leave an hour later with a cart full of snacks, some cool new gadget, and a deal that you just couldn't resist. If that sounds, well, painfully familiar, you are definitely not alone.
In fact, a whopping 89% of us admit to making those kinds of impulse buys. Look, that feeling of leaving with way more than you planned, that is not an accident. It's actually all part of the plan. So how exactly do they do it?
Well, it all starts with the seller's playbook. Retailers have spent decades, literally decades, mastering the art of what's called behavioral economics. They design these entire shopping experiences to talk directly to our instincts and our emotions.
You see, old-school economics kind of assumes we're all logical robots, carefully weighing every single pro and con. But behavioral economics, it tells us the real story. Our decisions are driven way more by emotion than by logic. And retailers know this. They aren't building stores for your logical brain. They're building them for your emotional one. One of their biggest moves is something called anchoring. When they show you a high original price, let's say $100, your brain immediately gets stuck or anchored to that number. So when you see the sale price of $70, it feels like an incredible deal you just can't pass up, even if $70 was the price they wanted you to pay all along. And then there's the decoy effect, which is another really clever trick. Okay, imagine a small coffee is $2 and a large is $5. You might think about it. But what if they add a medium size for $4? All of a sudden, that large for just $1 more seems like way better value. That medium coffee, it's the decoy, and it's only there to make you choose the large one.
These tactics also tap right into our sense of loss aversion. It turns out the psychological pain of losing something is about twice as powerful as the joy of gaining something. This is exactly why limited time offers and buy one, get one deals work so well. They completely reframe the situation. It's not about gaining a product, it's about avoiding the loss of a fantastic deal.
And the store itself? It's basically a psychological playground. It starts the second you walk in, with what they call a decompression zone at the entrance to slow you down. Then, since about 90% of us instinctively turn to the right, that's where they put all the high-profit items. The entire layout is designed to keep you in there longer and expose you to more products, with the ends of the aisles serving as prime real estate for impulse buys.
And it's not just about what you see. Slower music can actually make you stay longer and spend up to 15% more. That smell of fresh bread? It triggers hunger. Warm, cozy lighting makes products look way more appealing. All of your senses are being targeted to keep you feeling comfortable, happy, and, well, spending.
Now, all of these external tricks are really designed for one thing, to set off a powerful chemical reaction inside our own heads. Because it's not just about what's out there. Let's talk about your brain on dopamine.
Dopamine is often called the brain's feel-good chemical, but it's really more like the chemical of wanting. It's a neurotransmitter that fuels our motivation and our reward-seeking behavior. It's your brain basically screaming, "Ooh, that looks good, go get it." And shopping, well, it's a really easy, reliable way to get that dopamine hit. And this creates a super powerful, sometimes addictive loop. Our brains just love new things, so seeing a new item triggers a release of dopamine. Not just when you buy it, but in anticipation of buying it. I mean, just the act of browsing online and adding stuff to your cart is its own reward. The purchase itself gives you a short-term high, which wires your brain to want to do it all over again.
And dopamine isn't the only thing going on in there. We also shop because we're just bored. We do retail therapy when we're stressed out because buying something gives us a quick feeling of control. And sometimes we buy things to soothe low self-esteem or just to keep up with all the trends we see online.
I just love this quote from content creator Katya Chesnak because it really just cuts right to the chase. So often, that urge to go to a store isn't because you really need something, it's just a signal that you're bored or maybe trying to avoid doing something else, like cleaning your kitchen.
So, okay, what's the real long-term cost of all these small, emotionally driven purchases? Well, it's a little thing called lifestyle creep.
Lifestyle creep is that super subtle process where, as you start to make more money, your spending just kind of goes up right along with it. The luxuries from yesterday, like that daily fancy coffee or another streaming service, they slowly, quietly become today's necessities, and you often don't even realize it's happening.
And all those little splurges, oh, they add up. The average American spends around $2,000 a year on impulse buys alone. Just take a second and imagine what else that money could be doing for you.
So here's a perfect real-world example of that cost. Let's take the average work bonus, about $2,500. If you spend it, poof, it's gone. But if you were to invest it instead, with an average 8% return, it could more than double to over $5,400 in just 10 years. That is the hidden price tag of an impulse splurge.
Okay, so we know the seller's playbook, and we know our own internal triggers. So how do we fight back? How do we take control? It all starts with becoming a mindful shopper.
A fantastic strategy for this is the 48-hour rule. The next time you feel that urge to buy something that isn't essential, just stop, write it down, and wait 2 days. This simple delay creates a cooling-off period, and it separates that emotional impulse from a real desire. You will be amazed how often the need for that item just completely disappears.
And here are a few more tools for your kit. Always shop with a list. Create a little friction for yourself. Delete your saved credit card info online so you actually have to think about it. Unfollow any accounts that make you want to spend. But most importantly, ask yourself 2 questions. Does this purchase actually align with my values? And what do I want more? This thing or the financial freedom that saving this money could get me?
At the end of the day, awareness is your superpower. You now know the playbook that retailers are using, and you know the triggers in your own mind. That means the power is back in your hands. So, I'll leave you with this to think about. Now that you know the game, what's one purchase you'll rethink this week?